Okay, I was going to ask some questions, but since we already started with the audience, we'll just let them start then. What was the question? Somebody had a question already? What was it?
The question was, where was it shot?
Oh,
and
okay.
I answered that question.
Lacey Studios and Linda Vista Hospital too, in LA. Yeah.
Why did your film crew from Rhode Island?
Well, our executive producer is from Rhode Island, and he has a lot of locations there that we could use for free. So we shot about a week in Rhode Island too.
Also, Rhode Island has that East Coast look,
Yeah.
out there. So
Yeah.
Yeah, all the exteriors were mostly Rhode Island.
David, how did you get in, because you're one person I didn't interview, but how did you get involved in directing the film, and how did you do all that? I know it was very limited budget and very limited time, so how did you get involved and coordinate all that?
Well, I met Jason through a mutual friend, and he sent me the script, and I thought there was a lot of interesting things we could do with the project. The script was in pretty rough shape, and me and Jason worked together to rewrite it, flesh it out a little bit. And I brought in Ron to lead all the fun action you guys watched.
yeah, our producer Henry Moo who's on the East Coast right now, hosting a screening back east. Him and I wanted to, we wanted to do a film noir mixed with sort of martial arts genre, and use some of my skills in that. And so we found a script, and then I had met David and showed him what we were trying to do, and he dug it, and that's where it started as a collaboration.
So how did you also kind of balance preparing for a role and producing? Producing's horrible.
Yeah, it's really tough, when you're trying to worry about so many things. I mean, this film was done, for just over $1 million. So for us to be here in this theater and to get this little release, even though it's incredible, really, in this time and age with all the, we're competing against big studio blockbusters, that have hundreds of millions of dollars, and our $1 million budget is like, the food budget of some of these, films. So it's kind of a miracle that we're getting any kind of little release. And we really busted our hump to make that. So so balancing and trying to manage, and it really was stressful. And then trying to really focus on, getting into character. And as an actor, I kind of, looking back, this is a couple of years now, I kind of took a method approach where I really needed to get into character. So I was practicing smoking and drinking and not training too much, and going to strip clubs with David to do some research. And I really suffered when it came down to training with Ron for the pre-production. I was in rough shape, man. It was tough. So I look at it in hindsight that, just act. You don't need to really do this method sort of thing where I wore myself out. So I think I probably would take a different approach today.
Yeah.
What kind of cameras did you use?
We shot 35 anamorphic.
The initial shoot, yeah.
The initial shoot, and we also shot about a week on the Genesis, and I think we also shot a couple days on the Red.
1 day on Red.
Yeah.
How long did it take to shoot all the action scenes?
The initial shoot was 3 weeks, and then you guys shot about a week in Providence, and then we had 1 day at Linda Vista Hospital. So yeah, it's about 4 weeks. The action sequence for the last hallway thing, Old Boy comparatively, had 3-4 weeks of rehearsal. They shot for a week. We shot for about 6 hours, and we had about 4 or 5 days of rehearsal.
I just want to clarify, the 4 weeks is for the entire film, not just the action.
Yeah, for the whole film.
Ron, you had dual roles too, huh?
Yeah.
You were doing all the action stuff, directing that, right?
Mhm.
So you had to do balancing too. That's what happens when you have a small budget, huh?
Yeah. It was no. I mean, Dave asked me, to help out with the action, and I loved it. And meeting, Jay and Henry Moo, you know, it was guys from the East Coast, so we all bonded fairly quickly. And but yeah, it was kind of crazy, you know, but it was good. Like for the acting stuff, I think that was the last thing that was on my mind. It was mainly, you know, helping out with the action, helping out producing, just making sure, you know, because we only had about a week, about 5 days of rehearsal, not just for the hallway fight, but for all the action sequences in the film. So.
Jerry, do you ever die? No.
Nope. It's not fully established.
Somebody else have a question? Yeah.
What would you say was the biggest challenge throughout the entire production?
For me,
Yeah, or anyone, everyone.
well, I mean, the biggest challenge is the same challenge of all indie movies. You're always a day late and $1 short. It took all I had to keep it together and not jump out the window during the shoot. And when you don't have any money, things don't get finished on time. We spent a lot of time in post. We ran out of money. We had to go look for more. I mean, I was like 13 when we started shooting. And now I'm almost adult type. So it's been a long time.
He was such a brat too that we fought tooth and nail. So it's kind of stressful. You know, it's just that's how it is when when you start production. All the stress comes on, and you know that the money's starting to burn once the people are there, and you're trying to do so many ambitious things, and it's a tough. Just managing all the things was really tough, and then.
I think it's a testament to, when you have no budget, it's a testament to prep or rehearsal. And one thing that my pal Ron did really well is brought in all the talent that he knows and rehearsed the hell out of them. And a lot of us, everybody did him favors, so because it usually would cost a lot of money. The reason that we could get all that stuff done in such a short amount of time, which is really an incredible feat to get this much production value and this small of a budget is amazing. If the studios knew how to do this, there's so much waste on most studio projects. Like Jason's right. Some of them could have $1 million craft service and perk budget in the film, and we made an entire film for that. But it's a testament. So I think that the studios have it wrong. There's definitely a better way because most of the money's spent up front.
Yeah, and I think also what Jason was alluding to is, there's a lot of, when there's all this stuff and there's a lot of passionate people and a lot of alpha dogs, so sometimes we get into this, but it's all coming from a good place. It's all for the betterment of the film, and but I would say the hardest part I would see was the most frustrating part was probably post-production, because that's why, it's getting the money and then trying to get everything together, the sound design and all that stuff. So, it's like what is it now, 4.5-year journey? Yeah. So.
Props to Chris Donlin.
Yeah. Our editor, one of our editors.
One of our editors. Props to Chris Donlin. My nephew. It's a family affair, hey. But
Somebody else? Yeah.
Great job, guys. I like the film. I had a question about the fight choreography. Since Jason has such a background in fighting and martial arts, and Ron, you have such a strong background, did you guys feel it was easy to collaborate, or was it kind of butting heads a little bit with different visions, or?
Yeah, it was, I think in the beginning, because Jay, we all liked each other hanging out, and Jay's obviously concerned, so there was more of like philosophical debates first, and then we talked about it, and then, as Jay was saying earlier, it was his method approach, kind of the first day. He was a little tired, but we worked it out. It was, it was a lot of fun, and also the stunt guys that came out for us were amazing, were incredible, so everyone, went above and beyond.
Well, yeah, we all had a vision of course we were influenced by the Old Boy, that final scene, the movie Old Boy, and that hallway shot. And what stood out in that movie, of course, was the rawness of the characters and his fight through it. And so we didn't want to make this like any sort of like a Jet Li movie where he's super cool, or a Tony Jaa movie where they walk through a ton of guys and it's real sharp and cool and it always looks like a badass. We wanted this to be sloppy and ugly, so in a way it's kind of an anti-martial arts movie. It's it's really less about the technique and more about the character's heart to fight through it. And as I got more tired doing take after take, Ron would be like, that's it, that's what we're going for.
Yeah, ugly, gritty, sloppy, yeah.
Well, a lot of reviews mention Old Boy as the influence for that scene, and it's true that we all watch Old Boy, but a lot of it was also a budgetary consideration, because when I watch an action movie, I'm always impressed when they manage to do it in one long shot, because I know how hard action is to shoot, and to see something that goes on for a few minutes with that amazing choreography, for me, as soon as you cut, I lose interest. And you know, we don't have Johnny Toe's budget. We can't do like an elaborate, big shot like that. So the hallway, we kept the camera simple. It was an homage to Old Boy, but it was also the cheapest way to shoot that scene.
Yeah, and also, you know, you see a lot of movies where they make any actor look like a badass, and you know, you can do two moves and then cut the angle, do 2 moves, cut the angle, and do another move and cut the angle, edit it all together, and then it looks like they look great. And that's easier to do as an actor, but to do something like this may be easier in a sense for camera. But as an actor, and I give so much credit to the other stuntmen that were involved, because it takes 2 to tangle, and for us to go through all those movements back and forth all in one shot is really tough.
And staying safe.
And staying safe. Yeah.
Well, I also didn't have a lot of experience in action, so when I signed on, I actually didn't know how hard it was to do some of this stuff. So I kept asking Ron to do these impossible things, but he never said no, he never turned me down, and in the end, he actually did everything. I don't know how he did that.
But he was cursing under his breath. Yeah.
I didn't know it takes 2 weeks to shoot like an Old Boy scene. I thought you could do it in 6 hours.
Jason, so with your background as a martial artist, how do you find the difference of transitioning from that world of competition and actual hitting and forms and all that kind of stuff to what you see on screen?
It's different, you know, than fighting. Well, some of the forms training that I did, you know, when you do 2-man fighting sets, it's similar in a sense, but for the most part, when you train as a fighter, you're training to throw all your power or your weight through an object. Whereas, you know, when you're doing a fight scene here, you're trying to whack and then pull back, and you know, the other person has to react. So it's different training, and it's different. Sure.
Anyone else? We're over time, we got to wrap, so.
Yeah. Just wrap it up. Just want to say thank you guys for coming. We kind of look at this as, you know, like I said, it's a rare thing that a little indie movie could be in a theater like this, and I don't think it's been done since maybe had this kind of release, you know, across the states since maybe Justin Lin's Better Luck Tomorrow,
yeah.
or something. So this is truly American cinema. And you know what? Our theater booker wanted to have this screening out in Santa Monica, and I said, you know what? Let's go back to our peeps here and let's do it, you know.
Yeah, Monterey Park.
Yeah.
Tell your friends. Tell your friends, friends.